Hi everybody, welcome back to In the Kitchen with Mama. Today I'm going to be doing two entrees. I'm going to be doing a chicken pot pie, and then I'm going to be doing chicken and dumplings. The prep work is about the same, but it is going to be two different videos. One's going to be the chicken and dumplings, one's going to be the chicken pot pie. All the chicken, both for the dumplings and the pot pie. And I bought it this time with the bone in and the skin. Those of you who know me know I have to have organic everything. But the skin and the bone give it a whole lot more flavor, and they make your stock just so tasty. Pot where the chicken is boiling, and while it boils, you never want that liquid to run out. And after the initial water, you put chicken stock into the pot. You're going to want a lot of liquid left because you will be making the chicken and dumplings, which requires a lot. The chicken has been boiling for about an hour and a half, and I am taking it out now. I'm going to let it cool, and then I'm going to take the skin off. I'm going to debone it, and I'm going to put it back in there to cook while the dumplings cook with it. I would show you how to skin and debone the chicken, just in case. So the chicken has been cooked, and it is very, very done. It is fall off of the bone done. The bone and the skin gave it a lot of flavor, and it made a wonderful broth. But the way you skin it is, this is the skin. You just kind of take it off there, put it in a little pile. That one's still kind of hot, so I'll work on this one. And the way you bone it is you just pick the really good meat off of the bone and discard the rest. And then there's some areas of gristle and hard areas that are not too tasty, so I always cut those off as well. It's looking good. It's looking good. That's looking good. Okay, so this one has been deboned and skinned, and now we'll go to work on this one, and it's pretty much the same. Very hot. So now you know how to skin and bone a cooked chicken, and I will be back with you in just a minute. I have separated out my chicken from my vegetables, and this is really a step you wouldn't have to take if you were making one or the other. But since I'm making both chicken and dumplings and chicken pot pie, I had to separate it out. Half the chicken will go with the chicken and dumplings and will go back in the broth, and half the chicken will go in with the vegetables and into the chicken pot pie. So we're going to divide it in half, and that looks like about half, don't you think, Melissa? Or should I add a little more?
Oh, looks good.
All right, chicken for the chicken and dumplings back into the broth. And I want to show you what a rich, wonderful broth that is. Doesn't that look awesome? Mm-hmm. That is going to taste so good in this chicken and dumplings. Now we're going to make our dumplings. And the way I figured out how my mama made dumplings was using flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and buttermilk. So you get a nice working area with some salt, with some flour, and you get a bowl, which I don't have. So this can be my bowl. All right, and I am going to put about 2 cups of flour, and I may come back and use more, but I kind of doubt it. Here's one. I never measure anything unless I'm doing this video, so it's awesome to learn how much of stuff that I use. That can be passed down when I'm no longer here.
Which
So,
will never happen.
you know, when my mom passed away, all of her good recipes passed away. And it's been difficult to remember how wonderful those recipes were and not be able to replicate them. And that's why I've tried to figure out how to do this. Okay, so you put 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. All right. I'm going to mix that around and get it all mixed together. And this is what I pulled the chicken off in, so my biscuits are going to taste kind of vegetable chickeny. Be pretty good, actually. Now, if you wanted to make cheese biscuits, it would be at this point that you put them in. But we're not making biscuits, we're making dumplings. Okay, now we got our buttermilk. And I have never measured this in my life, so I don't know. I'm going to start with 1 cup of buttermilk and see how that does. Okay. Boy, that looks like a lot. But we'll see how it goes. All right. Wow. That was a lot. Well, maybe not too much, though. All right, yeah, I think it's going to be fine. If you want enough liquid to where you can get it to roll up into a soft ball and still be workable, because you're going to lay it out and blend it just a bit. Yep, that was right. So 2 cups flour, 1 cup buttermilk, 1 teaspoon each baking soda, baking powder, and salt. That is perfect. Well, now I know how much I used. Okay. And for complete recipes and how to make them, check out my website, www.inthekitchenwithmomma, and Momma is MOMMA.com, inthekitchenwithmomma.com. So now, we've got that to where it formed into just a little bit of a soft ball. And we don't need this anymore, so I'm going to get rid of it. And you don't want to mess with this too much. Just enough to where you can get it kind of laid out in a nice little rectangular thing. Okay. Here we go. And this would probably be a good time for a rolling pin if I was so inclined, but I'm not. So, here we go. Now you want to leave some thickness here. And I guess that's, what would you say, Melissa, 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch?
I'd say 1/4 maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So now your chicken broth and your chicken are boiling away. And you're going to cut these things into dumplings. And the size of your dumplings is very personal. However big or small you want your dumplings. But this is about the size that I'm going to use for a dumpling. So you just drop it into the gently boiling water. And it's going to cook for a while. And the flour is going to make that broth very creamy and delicious. It's going to be so good. Okay, here we go. And the dumplings cook pretty quick. How long would you say we cook the dumplings, Melissa?
No more than 10 minutes, right? That seems even a little much.
Well, let's time it. What is the time right now? So let's time
450.
it. Okay. So I'm going to finish cutting up and putting the dumplings into the broth, and we will be back with you in just a little bit. I'm back, and this is how your dumplings are looking after about 5 minutes, and you will want to turn them over very carefully. If I can figure out how to do that. There we go. And that turned both of those over. You know what? This big pot is good, but all right. There we go. Not quite like Mom's small pot. Alrighty. It's deep, but it's skinny. Alright, and so you get them turned over like that. And then you cook them for about another 5 minutes. And by then, they should be done. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes. It's been another 5 minutes and the dumplings are not done. So it's going to be probably another 10 minutes before they are good and done. But they're nice and fluffy. These are southern chicken and dumplings. I know some people like their dumplings kind of hard. I'm not one of those people. I like the southern version. But if you do like your dumplings hard, you could add milk instead of buttermilk, and a half a teaspoon of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of baking soda and a half a teaspoon of salt. And that will give you a firmer dumpling. So we will be back in about 10 minutes, and hopefully we will have the finished product. On with the chicken and dumplings. Come over here, Melissa, and show them what it looks like when they are done. See, the broth has turned a nice creamy color. The dumplings are thick yet moist and fluffy. So we are going to get us some chicken and dumplings. And bon appetit.